You're watching SchreckTeck, where tech is Shrecky. This show is sponsored by Synapse 3DI at www.synapse3di.com and by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com. And hello, everyone. Welcome to our premiere episode of SchreckTeck. SchreckTeck, you ask. Now, why did we call it SchreckTeck? Well, there's a big reason, and that is Gina Schreck. Gina, hi there. How are you, Gina?
Good. This is exciting. Little, rocky roads getting started, getting everything together, but we are excited to get this launched and rolling. So I'm excited to see so many folks in the chat room already watching behind the curtain, and we are ready to roll. We are ready to roll.
And for all those wondering, if you're in the chat room, you can communicate with us via the chat. You can also go to Twitter and go to, I think it was hashtag SchreckTeck or hashtag, actually, we don't have a hashtag Dear Schreck. It's hashtag SchreckTeck, SchreckTeck.
I'm watching both. I'm watching the hashtag SchreckTeck. I'm watching the chat room, and then I also have at Dear Schreck, because we do have that segment later.
And we will have Dear Schreck advice.
But we have so much to cover. I mean, it took us days, weeks to scale back all the stuff that we wanted to cover today. So we're excited that we're going to try and cram as much as possible. And first I have to do a shout out. Rick, I was telling you, Larry's in the chat room, but a shout out to Tulsa Community College, to Larry's class. Hey all, in the computer, let's see if I can remember it. It was, I think, the Computer Concepts Applications class. I think you guys need to come up with a shorter name. But shout out to you guys out there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Hopefully everybody's staying warm, because it's about 2 degrees here in Denver.
I won't tell you what it is here. We're in Camarillo, California, and I think we're going to be 68 today.
I'm plugging my ears. I don't want to hear that.
You don't want to hear that.
No.
And we're not dry today. We're so humid. So.
Yeah, it's another snowy day. Late start at schools and everything around here. So, but we're nice and toasty warm here at SchreckTeck. And, Rick, you just got back from a tech conference last week, the ASTD Technology Conference, and I know Terrence, a few of you in the chat room were there. Any big discoveries? You worked the Adobe booth?
I was in the Adobe booth, so I didn't have too much of a chance to walk around and take a look at everything that was going on, but I didn't hear too much buzz. A lot of people into virtual collaboration. They were getting into virtual classrooms. That seems to be one of the big questions we had at the Adobe booth. A lot of people were saying, do you have information on Adobe Connect? How does it compare to WebEx? How does it compare to GoToTraining? So there was a lot of talk about collaboration. So that was one of the things that we heard a lot of. And then, of course, everybody was still into the authoring tools and the development. Not too much new. There were a lot of people were talking about social media. One thing I noticed at the booth, this is the first time I've been in the booth where we had BlackBerries with scanners, so we could actually scan the cards right with a BlackBerry, which is kind of a little bit about the apps we're talking about today.
Right.
So I thought that was really interesting.
It's all about the apps. Don't you think this year has just been the year of there's apps? Well, we don't want to steal the open shade, but there's an app for everything. There is an app for everything, and we will get into apps later on. We're going to break the show into a couple of segments. We're going to do, normally we're going to start with news and notes and just kind of get everybody introduced to the concept. Then we will be doing social right. Who's doing social right? Like, who's using social media in a really cool way?
Like us.
Like us. Doing social right.
Because if you think about it, we're combining Wirecast, which is online virtual broadcasting. We're combining that with Twitter, with Facebook. We're doing all sorts of stuff. And we're combining a lot of mediums together, which is what makes it really fun. And we can reach a lot more people that way without having to do a lot of work.
Right. And, then another segment that one of my favorites, shiny objects. And so we're not talking about bling. We're talking about shiny objects, gadgets, what's cool out there that can help all of us in our business. So we'll have a couple fun, shiny objects to look at.
No bling?
Yeah, it'll be some bling. I just made sure I wore bling as we talk about it. And my QR code shirt, of course.
Ah, yes. And then we are going to be talking about apps on the map. No, we're not talking GPS apps. We're talking about apps in general, apps that are popular.
Apps in general.
And apps that make sense for you, not only from a business point of view, but just from a fun point of view. Maybe
And
Gina and I would
apps
just
on
stop playing
iPhone,
Angry
Android.
Birds.
Right. Both Android and Apple and BlackBerry. So you've got the BlackBerry, I've got an Android and an iPad. We both have iPads, so we'll have apps for all.
And
So
our
that'll be exciting.
last segment will be Dear Shrek.
Dear Shrek. Maybe I should. Then I'll put on my glasses so I can look like Dear Shrek, the counselor. And the doctor will be in.
And if you have any questions for Dear Shrek, please ask them on Twitter or even in the chat room, and we will try to answer as many as we can in our short 30 to 35 minute show. Anyway, I think we are ready to...
Let's jump right into I think that music means
It's doing social media right time.
doing it right. Well, and we always talk about Comcast, and they're really well known right now using Twitter, using social media as a company to really turn their brand around and be really customer focused, customer centric. But I have to tell you, in the past 2 weeks, and Rick, you were involved in one of them where I had to call Comcast, and instead of calling Comcast anymore, I just tweet. And I talk about, I need help with I think my modem's going out. And I immediately, within 30 seconds, you get contacted on Twitter from someone from Comcast. Well, then about 2 days later, I was using Pandora, and that's one of my favorite applications. If you are not using Pandora, it's just a great music site that you can log in and pick a song or pick an artist, and it creates your own radio station. Well, I listened to it so much that I hit the free max. You can listen to 40 hours a month for free. And I hit that, and it said upgrade to Pandora One, and I thought, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I listen to Pandora throughout our house, and it's worth I think it's like $35 or something. So I went to upgrade to Pandora One, and you create these little custom skins for the little players on all your screens, and there's some cool features, and there's no commercials if you upgrade. So I went ahead and did it. But then I went to log in and use it, and it wouldn't work. And I was going to their website trying to figure out how to troubleshoot, and of course it had all these, it just was frustrating. I wanted an answer quick. So I turned to Twitter. I go to Twitter, and I just went to at Pandora. They've got a Twitter page and a Twitter account, and I contacted someone there, explained my problem. Literally within an hour, we found out what the problem was. And the problem was I had created the Pandora One upgrade on my daughter's account instead of mine. So it was totally my mistake. But it was just interesting to see how companies are listening using social media tools and responding with great customer service. And I think if you are a small business or a large business, I think this is somewhere that we all need to look at. Are we listening for people talking about us or asking for help in our niche without them necessarily contacting at your name, your business name? And I think that, I have to shout out to Pandora, Comcast, and another company, Samsung. I have my Nexus S phone and had an issue with the first one that I got. And I also got help through Samsung on Twitter. So 3 companies, I think, really doing social right and helping customers. And the takeaway for me is, as a business owner, are we listening not just for our name, but for people asking for help in areas that we should be able to jump in?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So you actually got tech support on Twitter from Samsung.
Right.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and it's actually they have a Twitter account set up for Samsung. It's called Samsung Galaxy S.
Yeah, I have a gripe with those people.
Galaxy Tab and their Nexus S phone.
And I have a gripe with Samsung and the Galaxy S. We have the Samsung Captivate from AT&T. That's my wife's phone, which was supposed to be on Android 2.2 6 months ago. Still not there.
Still not.
Yeah, rip off.
Go to their Twitter account, ask them what's up.
Yeah,
What
gives?
Super helpful.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's good to know.
Yeah.
I will try that because Android 2.2 really makes a difference. 2.1 doesn't have all the
Yes.
features and functionality.
Right.
But I'm holding out for the Android Motorola Bionic. Have you seen that phone?
I have, and it's like I have to stop looking at them because there's so many cool phones.
Yeah.
But I do love this phone. It's a slight curve to it, so the picture quality's great.
Yep.
It just
Well, it's got that great AMOLED screen, which is just so sharp.
yeah.
So that is your Samsung?
Yeah, this is it.
So are you running 2.1, 2.2?
It is. It's actually gingerbread.
So how'd you get that?
It's only on this phone.
Interesting.
Yeah, special.
Yeah,
Special.
tell me about it.
That's, I think, again, and to kind of the tech support thing, when I contacted Samsung's Twitter account, they were troubleshooting with me. We couldn't fix it. And so she elevated me to a level 3 tech call. She gave me a special number that I didn't have to go through tech support 1. It immediately elevated it, and they said, send in your phone. We're sending you we got a new one that day. And it was really easy. It was just so simple. A lot of times now companies send you to their FAQ page and you're trying to search for answers online and you just get frustrated. You're going, I just need somebody to make this easy. And I find social media to be a really interesting way right now that companies can stand out and wow.
They can. And the good thing is all of a sudden they become very accessible. You can reach people you'd never be able to reach without that. And many times, like for example, I go to some of the vendor sites and I ask, what's your name? Because they'll have something like Wirecast or whatever. Then they tell you what their name is. Now you know another person.
That's
and you can get a little more personal with the person and establish a relationship, if you will. And that takes you further along in whatever you're doing as far as business goes. And that's really good. We met through Twitter.
Yeah,
you and I met through Twitter. You and I met through Terrence, who was on Twitter.
On Twitter.
In fact, he and I are doing the next show. I'll plug the next show. Terrence Wing and I are going to be on eLearn Chat in about another hour or so. So yeah, this is fun. This is all through Twitter. Gina, you just disappeared.
Did I disappear?
Yep, you're.
Oh, you disappeared on my Skype screen.
Oh, this isn't good. Your Skype session went away. Hold on.
I still see myself.
That is weird. There you go. That was strange.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. That was really weird. That's never happened before.
That's weird.
I suspect somebody may have sent a Skype chat over and it swapped the screens out. Nasty.
Oh, you know what? I did see a chat come over the screen. So
nasty. Well, we're not looking at Skype chat while we're on this.
No.
So.
But Terrence is making a good point too in the chat room of Best Buy is another one using Twitter, and they have their whole 12th force at Best Buy. So I think it's really a way that we need to. Big companies are doing it and they have the resources, but smaller businesses can also, and as consumers, we can do it. Do it too.
That is true. Uh-oh, I hear that music coming on again. I think it's time for us to switch to another section.
Objects.
So here we are with shiny objects.
Shiny objects, my favorite. I was actually trying to figure out a way to do a sound boost using my. If I was recording someone on a voice recorder on my cellular device, on my phone or mobile device, whether you're using an iPad, because you can also do some great podcasting using your iPad, voice recorder apps. On any of the smartphones, there's voice recorder apps. So find first a great voice recorder app and download a free one, test it out. But then when you're talking and you're wanting to do an interview, you're relying on the microphone on your phone to pick up the sound. Well, what I did is I went to Amazon and found a great shiny object, and it is a mic that it really is just a tie lavalier clip-on that you can clip on your shirt, and then it plugs into the earpiece on your phone or your iPad, and it boosts the sound for interviews. So I really like that one, and I got it for $10 on Amazon.
Do you want to move that slowly into the camera? So
it's Olympus. It's an Olympus ME15, and it's just a little clip-on mic, and I loved it. And when I ordered this one, as I was there and Amazon recommended another product, I also grabbed for $10 this Olympus TP7. What this one does, You can plug this into your earpiece on your phone. You can call someone, and it will record both sides of the conversation, so you can do an audio recording, a podcast over the phone.
And you know, that's a lot cheaper than having to spend a fortune. We bought an Innkeeper something or other from a fairly large company to record phone conversations. It didn't work very well. We got so much digital noise, it's just sitting in a box, $500 down the tubes. And that thing was how much?
$10.
$10.
Shiny object for $10. And it's just cool because you can, again, you can use any device and not have to be at your desk, sitting in your office doing this recording. Maybe you have an expert that you want to interview for a podcast, and you don't want to have to get home, get on Skype, download a recording, figure out how to do all that. Plug this in. Easy. I love that.
She just saved you $500.
Exactly.
That is a good deal.
Yeah, it's a really good deal. And, if anything breaks, I always have to show. There's always pink duct tape.
Yeah, that's a great shiny object, and I actually have that same. Not to be surprising, I like microphones. I have that little cheap Olympus mic, and it's you know what? It doesn't sound badly at all.
No. Now I also have the flip camera, and the newest flip camera has a jack that you can plug in that same clip-on microphone. So only the new flip cameras, they finally came out with one that you can plug in at a mic. So that's helpful.
Now, why would you buy a flip over using your cell phone, for example, like your Samsung?
I don't know, because they're cute. Look at all the designs. You can get cool designs on them.
They are cute. Do you find the video quality better on those?
It really is great quality. And I can, take a bunch of, I can be out and about and take a bunch of video and then bring them home and edit them with screenshots and add things in, which I guess I can do with my phone as well, but the quality is better on the flip camera. The HD is really nice.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I'm always carrying those around. But, there's some fun shiny objects. And if you have any shiny objects that you think we all need to know about, make sure you send them our way. I'll get those out.
Yeah, send us all your shiny objects. We'll keep them too, but send them to us.
Right. Now, someone asked, Larry asked if these mics are iPhone compatible. Yes, they plug into the earphone jack. So any device that has an earphone jack, it is compatible.
Yeah, and if you want to spend a little bit more money, you can get the camera adapter kit for, well, actually, that's really for the iPad, but you can get adapters and mics for the iPhone. We could do that for another segment. There's some great little mics. Blue makes a mic for the iPhone, and about 4 or 5 other vendors do as well, which are really good quality. These mics are anywhere from $20 to about $50. They'll give you a pretty good sound on an iPhone.
Which is great. Yeah, and then the iPad, coming out with these little camera adapters, or you could just wait.
Yeah.
And get the new iPad that's coming out.
True. They haven't announced it yet, have they?
No. Just right now, rumors. People keep saying they saw it. They saw one, someone with one, and they saw somebody from TechCrunch. It's like, no one has pictures of one in the wild.
Yeah, I hate to say it. I love my iPad, but I am looking forward to that Motorola Zoom, which I think just came out.
I've been seeing a lot of their ads. Yeah, it looks really cool.
It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah. So, yeah, but those are our shiny objects. Check. Done with that segment.
And now we're going to talk apps on the map. Now, we had actually, Gina went to the trouble of getting me links to some of these, but I had a little bit of a problem getting them up on Wirecast this morning. Just kind of ran out of time. I was gone all last week, and Gina was busy all last week, so we didn't have as much time to prep as we wanted for the show, but next week will be a lot better. Trust me.
A lot better.
So anyway, you have a couple of apps. You were talking about business cards.
Now I have a couple apps that I love. Now, on the iPad or iPhone, and as a matter of fact, Android, I couldn't find this one yet, but I'm sure it'll be on the Android market, called Sign and Send. There's several times, especially during tax time, I get clients that say, I need a W-9 sent over, and I need to sign it. Usually I either have to print it out, sign it, and then fax it back. But there is an app, if you have a document, a PDF that you need to sign and send somewhere, there's an app called Sign and Send. And it allows you to, let me go in front of the giant microphone here. It allows you to open up your document in the app, and then you sign the screen with your finger, and it saves it as a PDF, and it sends it back. Really cool, very helpful business app, because I get a lot of things that just need a signature, and sometimes I would just do a JPEG of my signature and put that in, or some other, but now even on the road, I can open the document in my app, and it is iPhone and iPad compatible, and I find that really helpful. I think it was $5.99 for that app. So that was my favorite business app. I have so many apps on my computer, that on my iPad, that it's crazy. But
Yeah.
I have to tell you, my favorite fun app lately, because of all the snow we're getting here, and even those of you on the East Coast, Southeast, I know Larry's got snowed in, you might want to take a look at this app. It is our fireplace app. You can bring a fire with you everywhere you go. The cool thing is, it even has sound effects. You have the real sound of fire crackling. So yesterday I was just playing around with this and had it going while I was doing work here in my office. Had my own little fire right there next to the screen. And that was, all it needs now is the smell.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, did you know that they have a new device and they're testing it in some online gaming, and you plug in the device and it's kind of like one of these home fragrance. You plug it in and then it has different scents that are sent out. Maybe it's cookies or whatever. The video gaming companies are playing around with this so that when you're playing a war game, perhaps, and you're going through the swamp, it's connected to your computer and it sends out scents that tie in with the scene of the game. And I thought this was really interesting, because I thought, how much longer before we can go to a website and click on things and smell them?
I'm not sure I like that.
Well, I guess if you go to like a shoe site, or but I thought it'd be pretty cool.
Is the world really ready for a scratch and sniff iPad? I don't know.
I am. I would want fire smell right now. I would love to have the scent of real fire.
But what happens if your smoke alarm goes off?
Yeah, what? That only happens when I cook. That's only when I cook.
You must know my wife.
Yeah. Some people call their family to dinner with the dinner bell. I use the fire alarm.
Yes, what are we having today? Charcoal.
Charcoal. And but on the apps, I'm always looking for apps that help in business, to take business on the road, because I think when we first got iPads, they're just giant iPods for a long time, and a lot of people really don't take advantage of all the great apps that are on, that are available. I've spent quite a bit of money and I download tons of apps, but there's still a lot that are free or low cost, and some of them are just silly apps like that fireplace one, or my Pee Wee Herman app that plays different Pee Wee Herman. Larry, the other day I was sharing some of my Pee Wee Herman apps. Sound bites. But there really are a lot of great tools available on iPhones, Android phones, a lot of them now coming to BlackBerry. But I always encourage people to go just shop around, just browse your app store, check out some of the featured apps, and see which ones could solve a business problem that you have on the road.
Yeah, it actually is amazing how many apps are out there, and every day you can find new one. I forgot what the number is on the iPad, but there are tons, and the Android market's getting just about an equal number. Not as fast, but they're getting there. And now that Androids are actually outselling the iPhone if you group all the Androids together, I think we have a little bit of competition going on, which is a good thing.
It is. Right now, the Android market, when you go to their marketplace, it's still really hard, unless you know the specific app you're looking for, to find anything. So, they're really working on a whole search system, a better search system, and organizing those apps in the Android store. So that's been fun. But every time I hear about one, I'm downloading or checking it out, which I think is what the problem was with the phone that I had all the problems with and had to exchange it. I think I downloaded some bad apps. So, definitely you want to read some reviews on apps before you just download them, if you haven't heard someone else that's using it, because just because they're in the marketplace doesn't mean they're safe to download.
So are you saying one bad app can ruin the whole bunch?
The rim shop. Ba-ding. I think I got some bad apps.
Bad apps.
nothing little Twitter, Samsung tech support couldn't help.
Now, one thing you were talking about business card apps, and I think you were talking about card scanning.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And actually, I believe Larry might have been the one that wrote in with that request of business card apps. And I have to say, I have had a lot of fun playing with business card apps. And there is one called, let me find it, because I just last night was playing around with this and scanned business cards and really like it. It's taking a picture of the card with your phone, and it's available on Apple and Android. Sorry, BlackBerry users. Although I'm sure they have...
They have them on the BlackBerry, too. That's what we used at the show. The nice thing about what we did at the show, not only can you scan the card, then you can type in comments right afterwards, so you can make that contact a little bit more specific to what you're doing.
Right. And then it files it in your regular contacts. This one is called World Card Mobile. And World Card, it's very, very simple. When you open up the camera and snap the picture, it's really clear. It even cropped it in. It just was really amazingly easy. And then it asks how you want to save it in your contacts, or do you just want the phone number, and you get to pick pieces of it, and boom, it's in your contacts. And it's funny is, maybe 2 years ago, I went and bought one of the little business card scanners that scans in and adds it to your contacts, and I think I paid a couple $100 for it. So, it is funny when you look at all the things that we have purchased too quickly before other better things came out. And business card scanners are one of them. I have a regular scanner that will do both scanner, but when you're on the road, you're at a conference, this is the way to go. Or ask people if they know how to bump, if they have the Bump app, because that's even better.
Now, have you tried that Bump app?
I use it all the time.
And it works.
Every time I go to a conference. And what's cool, Bump app, for those of you who don't know, it's an app you download. It's free on Android and iPhone. And they're compatible. So if somebody has an iPhone and I have my Android, I open up the Bump app, and first you set it up with all of your contact information, links to your social media sites. So you put everything you want to share upon meeting someone, and then you literally bump phones. You open the apps and then bump phones, and it transfers, it swaps contact information and files it in your contacts. That's my favorite. The problem is most people don't have it yet. But at conferences, it's great.
Both sides have to have it, right?
Both sides have to have it. So you do have to have two people with their phones, open the apps, and then bump. But it works great. I love that app.
I don't know. This is kind of an interesting world. We've got scratch and sniff iPads. We're bumping our phones together. This is interesting.
Well, there's one that I'm going to check out. A friend of mine, Neen James, she has an iPhone, so it's only available on Apple products right now, iPhone and iPad, and it's called Flick. And you can flick a document. So if I have a document, which Bump can do that as well. You can bump and send documents or photos. But this one is different in that you flick certain things to someone else who has the same app
Interesting.
open.
Now, do you have to be line of sight? Do you have to make sure that they are in your line of sight?
Now, see, the one she discussed, I have never tried. I'm going to try it on my iPad with her next week when we're both in Atlanta. But I've done Bump, and you have to physically bump.
Okay.
The phones.
Oh, you
on
actually...
the Flick, I think you probably have to be close enough. And I'm wondering if you have to be on the same network, or... I guess that wouldn't make sense. You wouldn't have to be on the same Wi-Fi network if you're on your phone, but there's got to be some distance.
I imagine so.
To it.
So when you bump the phones, you just say cheers, and all of a sudden you share all contact information.
Yeah, and some people get carried away and really rap knuckles with you, and then you're in pain. You just have to.
We had a funny thing happen at the booth when I was at the Adobe show. It was actually pretty funny. One of the people went up to one of the guys who happened to be single, and not a bad looking guy, and when he said, "Let me scan your badge," so she takes out her hotel room key, and he looks at her and goes, "Seriously?" At which point she turned about 3,000 shades of red and pulled out her real card, but that was great. Only a single guy could just come out with "Seriously." It was actually pretty funny.
That was a good response.
Yeah, it was funny watching. Why is she turning all red? Oh,
put that hotel key away.
Yeah.
But I think we're ready for our final.
Uh-oh. It's that music time again, and it's Dear Shrek.
Shrek.
All right, dear Shrek, it is
Dear
your time
Shrek.
to give people good advice.
That's right. And this is actually a dilemma that many businesses are experiencing. And Rick, this will be an interesting one for us to discuss because we had differing opinions. Well, I don't know if opinions, but we had different thoughts on this one. So here it is. Here's the dilemma. Dear Shrek, our company has a Facebook fan page, or otherwise known as a page, and we turned off the ability to let fans comment. We've heard that if you allow fans to comment, you'll get a lot of spam and negative comments posted on your page. Now I've heard people complain, asking why we won't let them comment, and I'm wondering if this is a good thing. I think this is a really interesting social media dilemma that companies are facing. Number one, because everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, creating Facebook pages without really thinking through who's going to manage these. Because you have to manage a business page every day. As a matter of fact, the bigger the company, several times throughout the day. It's like anything else. You have to have somebody watching that page for comments, just like a blog. I think too many people write a blog and then they never read the comments that people post and reply. Well, this is a dilemma because if you think about, in my opinion, I'll give my side first. If you're going to create a fan page on Facebook, a business page, the reason you're typically doing this is because you want engagement with your fans, with your community. So if you work really hard to build this great page and you invite people to come and like your page and then you put duct tape over their mouth, which I just recently wrote a blog post about that, you're really defeating the main purpose of the page. So if you're monitoring your page daily, you can see if somebody posts spam and remove the comment, remove the spam. If they post a negative comment, I always say don't remove it quickly. Talk to the person, contact them, ask them if you can call them directly to resolve the problem. And then if you really feel that it's a bad comment, I would rather, as a consumer, see that somebody had a problem and the company replied and fixed the problem. And that's a really good, I think, example of customer service and being vulnerable out there and being transparent in how you deal with problems. But Rick, what have you heard? What do you think?
It's interesting. If you read some of the books, they say, don't do that because then you can't control the message. So I guess it becomes a question of control versus openness. It's interesting. Some companies really want to control the message, especially some of the large companies.
Right.
On the other hand, I see the point of, keep it open and come what may. Look at Amazon. They've made a fortune allowing people to post, good or bad, and there are some real bad posts out there. I know I've done a couple. And it works out really well. So it's kind of a 50-50 depending on the company and depending on how much they really want to control. Can you imagine Apple actually doing that, where they make something open?
See, and here's what's interesting. Apple wouldn't create a Facebook page because
True.
they don't want to be open with that. They don't want comments like that. They don't want to have to monitor that. So really, I feel like if you don't want to manage the transparent conversations, you shouldn't build a Facebook page. Create a website. Have people go to your website. I feel like if you're going to go to Facebook, which is a social medium, you need to be social and you need to allow people to comment or post things, but you do have to regularly monitor that. There is, it's not Ben & Jerry's, it's the other ice cream. Maybe it's Cold Stone. They have a really active Facebook page, super active. I mean, millions of fans, comments, tons of comments every day. But you can tell nobody really monitors that page because there's lots of spam. I mean, you see a picture of a scantily clad woman saying, contact me. I mean, that's on their page, on their Facebook page. So to me, if a company is going to really manage their brand, they need to watch that page. They need to remove obvious spam. And I would even put a disclaimer on a big company page. I would put a disclaimer. We encourage your conversations here. However, if it's spammy or inappropriate, we have the right to remove it. But I think that is a really big dilemma that companies are facing. There's a company my husband works at that right now they're struggling. They had a community manager managing all their social media, and they're in transition. She moved into another position, and for the last month, I just looked at their page and I thought, they're not watching. They have all kinds of comments that were inappropriate, and then they turned off. That was a couple weeks ago, and then they turned off the ability to let people post. To me, it shows that you're antisocial. But
Well, what happens if you are antisocial but want to be sociable?
well, then you need to go to, instead of Facebook, go to the back of the head book.
Back of the head book?
Or talk to the handbook. Maybe we need to start that. Rick, there's a new business.
That's right. Dear
Talk
me.
to the handbook.
That's funny.
It's interesting. I think that's a dilemma that companies have to first step back before they launch a Facebook page and ask, why do we want to be on Facebook?
Any comments in the chat room about that?
Let's see. Control is bad. Freedom is good. Good comment. Yeah, isn't the website is for pushing out information. You know, that's where you control your content. So that's a good point.
That is a good point.
Keyword is social. Absolutely. Keep out of social media if you want control, and keep out control freaks. Let in social media. I really think part of the problem stems from not really having a goal before you launch into social media tools. So they jump in, create the page because they think they should, but they don't really know what is the purpose of being on here. It really, to me, a social media page, on Facebook especially, is a community environment where you're allowing people to talk about you. Now, companies that are afraid to hear what people have to say about them, I always tell them, they're talking about you, whether it's on your page or on someone else's page.
Good point.
So on your page, you have some control over what can be on there. And it allows you to hear what's going on and fix problems that might arise. But a lot of times people just say really cool, nice things. And, you know, if they have a problem, though, gives you an opportunity to fix it.
Well, there's another thing that goes on. To a certain point, the pages are self-policing. If you have a good fan page or any kind of place where you can make comments, you may get your occasional jerk who has no reason other than to say something bad, and they get flamed by the other people. I've seen that happen.
Right. And, you know, and that's really the ultimate goal, is a Facebook page becomes this community of fans who support your product or service. Now, you know, again, if you have a product or service that's really controversial, you better ask yourself, why do I want to create this environment first? Because it could be that Facebook's not the right tool for you, and your website or blog might be, where you can control and read comments before, you know, approving them.
Right, where you moderate. You can't moderate in Facebook, can you? At least not ahead of time.
No, not ahead of time.
It is all wide open.
Something, it immediately goes to the page.
Yeah. So,
but I've had to remove, I think, only 2 from our Getting Geeky page, and it was because they were spam. It was like somebody came on there and starts, again, I always encourage people, post, if you find tech tips, or if you have a tech webinar that you find would be helpful. But this guy came on Getting Geeky page, and he posted, sign up for my financial freedom webinar, blah, 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 and I had all this information. It had nothing to do with tech tips. And I thought, okay, that's just clearly spam, you know, so I just removed it.
And one thing I find irritating, and I'm sure all of us do, if you use certain keywords, for example, in Twitter,
right?
Let's say you use the word weight loss. That's a good one. Within moments, you will have at least 50 semi-nude people sending you how to meet guys, how to meet girls, how to meet whatever, right on your follow list, and you just go, oh, and it just never ends. It's just so funny. And if you look at
something like that, I wrote something about reading my mind. I had all these psychics that started following me the next day, and I wanted so badly to just hit reply to all of them and say, "You should have known I wouldn't follow you back."
But they did know that.
They had to have known, right?
That's right. Yes, Ms. Imelda, she knew all about what was going to happen.
Yeah. Let's see, Samid's blog. Larry's saying, oh, yeah, death penalty to spammers. And look at Samid's blog. In the chat room, there's a great blog link. Think before you go social. I need to read that.
That's a good one. Think before you go social. How about think period?
Think period.
We might have a different society if we actually all think. Thunk.
Well, this was an exciting first show. There was our dilemma for the day.
Yeah, it went well. We just went over half an hour, and We still have a lot more material, but you know what? We're going to call it a day today.
We are.
And we hope we see you next week at
Thanks to
8 a.m.
everyone.
Pacific time, 9 p.m. Mountain, and you can make out the rest, whatever time zone you're in. And by the way, wherever you are, we really appreciate you showing up today, watching the show. And you will be able to see this show on SchreckTeck at podbean.com, which will be later on in the week. We will post it out on Twitter as soon as it's ready and Facebook. So probably in the next day or so, this will be out in a podcast format. And
Demand.
and we hope to see you next week. Gina, I'm looking at you right now.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yes, and when Gina and I are about, what are we, about 1,500 miles apart?
Exactly.
A little over 1,000 miles.
Little distance.
Yeah,
right
but
here.
we can see each other right here. I look that way, and there she is.
The Brady Bunch. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I got to get that theme song. Anyway, guys, you guys have a great day wherever you are, and we will see you next week. Gina, thank you very much. We'll see you next time.
Terrence goes live.
Yeah, we'll be live in another hour or so. And I'm going to turn off the recording now, and then we'll still be live, Gina.